Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Let's try to use the concepts which we discussed in our previous video, like functions, modules and others. So let's try to work more on the functions area right now and then slowly move into the modules part. So the basic idea behind writing Python code is whenever you write some code, you write code, but you always place that code inside a function. So let's try to understand this again. So whenever you write some Python code, don't just write the Python code. Put that Python code inside a function. And if you put that Python code inside a function, what happens is it will be reusable. You can reuse that function anywhere inside your code. Okay, so let's try to write a simple function. So function starts with def with a function name. So this is the syntax. Um, my function or something, we can just use something like my function. And flower brackets, as I mentioned, we don't have flower brackets in Python, it's colon instead of that. And again, we have a space indentation, which is added by default in Google Colab. But if you miss that, you may see some errors. So make sure you add the indentation where required. So I will print something, print, please like, share, and subscribe. So this is just a simple function, my. So I created my, I can make it like function or something, my function, maybe any name. Okay, my first function maybe. So my first function, this is what I created. It won't execute. If you run it, it won't show any output because we are not calling this function anywhere in our application. We just created this function. So in order to call it function, so just copy the function name, and wherever you want to use it once or twice, just call it. Now try to run it and you should see the output. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to create a function and we are trying to call the function. So you can call this function as many times in as many places as required. That's the main intention behind writing your code inside function. So reusability. You can reuse this as many times as you can. So whenever you write code, remember to write your code inside a function. Similarly, you can also write function in a different way, like you can pass some values or pass some variables to the function so that your function will take that values and give the output. So let me try to take one very basic example where I create a function and return a value. So this function is not returning anything. Basically, if you want to return something, you can also return some values. So let me try to take this simple example to which is a function which will have a return value. For example, as I mentioned before, if you want to write a function def and then you can write the function, maybe some uh, multiply. I created a function called multiply, for example. So what I am trying to do is I am trying to return some value 10, for example. So whenever I call multiply, it returns value 10. That's what I'm trying to do. So let me try to call print multiply. So what will print now? So print multiply. So what is it returning? What is this returning? This is returning 10. So when I run this, it's, oh, because we need a colon here, just like for braces. Okay, and then it gives the output 10. So every time I call multiply, it returns 10. So this is useful to some extent, but not really useful because we want to do some calculations. So what we do basically, multiply 4 comma 5, print. I'll just take one print and give it to you, take another print later. Multiply 4 comma 5. This 4 comma 5, you'll take these values as parameters, a comma b as parameters, and instead of returning 10, I will do A star B. Now what happens is this multiply is called here, and these parameters 4 comma 5 are called here A comma B, and this A comma B we are multiplying and returning the values. So if I run this, I get 20. So what's happening here is I'm passing variables 4 and 5. They are being passed to A and B, and we're returning A star B. So let me try to use one more print statement with different numbers. One more print with 10 and 20, for example. So what happens now? It should print output for 10 and 20, 200. What we are trying to do here is we are trying to use the same method, and we are passing different parameters here. That's the reason we are creating functions. They are reusable and they are configurable with different values. Okay, so let's try to create another simple function to get familiar with the functions. Let's try to create something like def subtract or something. Okay, let's try subtract. We forgot a colon before. Colon is very important, and what we are trying to do is return. Okay, let's try to take two variables, A comma B, and return what's B minus A or A minus B, anything, A minus B. So when we call print subtract, let's take 20 comma 10, maybe small p. That's it. Let's try to see what will be the output. Perfect. So this is how we are trying to write subtract, multiply, etc functions with some parameters. So what is the use of parameters? It's configurable. So if I want to print another subtract with 50, 40, it will give me other output. So we can use the same method with different parameters. For example, 50, 10, 50, 40. So every time you write Python code, always remember write a function. Inside that function, write your code. Similar to this. Every time you write a Python code, I ask you to print something. Don't just write this line. Even write this function. So use def, write the function name, that's it, and call the function so that that function will execute. If you don't call this, your function will not execute. Okay, so I'm going to explain how to write modules in next video. If you like my video, please like, share, and subscribe to get similar videos. Click on bell icon. Thank you so much. Bye bye.